This is a complete Spicebomb buying guide. We're going to look at all of the Viktor Rolf Spicebomb fragrances here, except for Night Vision EDT. Starting off with the original Eau de Toilette. This is a very creative fragrance because there was nothing on the market like this when it came out, and still to this day, apart from the Spicebomb flankers here, there is not many other fragrances that smell similar to Spicebomb EDT. This, despite the note and the name, a Spicebomb is a Spicebomb. You have peppery spices in here. You have a beautiful, smooth but masculine tobacco, which is going to be a featured note as we talk about these other fragrances. But despite all of those notes, this is still a very versatile and wearable fragrance in my opinion. This I could see worn in a really fancy office building in London, someone who works in a bank, something like that. Someone who has a very busy day and they want a fragrance that is not going to be just so generic that everyone in the office is wearing the same thing. They want something different, they want something to stand out, but whilst not being offensive and while still being able to wear something around the office, this works great. And I think it's very interesting that although this is a very spicy fragrance, it's also very versatile as well. So this has a beautiful pepper note with some warming spices and then a masculine tobacco note. This is Spicebomb Eau de Toilette. The ever popular Spicebomb Extreme. Now the vanilla in here is perfect. It opens up and it really hits you straight away. You get this strong vanilla note, and that's all you can really smell in the opening couple of minutes. But as it dries down, it fades into the background. It fades, it blends in with the cinnamon, with the tobacco. It's the same tobacco note that's in the EDT that we just looked at, but this is more warming. It's sweeter. It has a heavier, denser feel to it. This one is not so versatile. It hasn't got that cleanliness that we spoke about in the EDT. This is much more suited for winter. This is a real winter fragrance in my opinion. As the weather starts to get a bit cooler like it is now, I often find myself reaching for this because it has those warm and comforting qualities that you look for in a winter fragrance. The main difference between these two fragrances, if you're wondering, this one has a freshness and this brightness, which means it's very versatile. This one adds a heavy vanilla note, which makes it much more comforting and wintry. Moving on to Spicebomb Night Vision Eau de Parfum. This one I was not incredibly impressed with when I first tried it, but the more I'm wearing it and the more I'm experiencing it, the more I come to appreciate it. Now, the main problem I've got with it is it's not spicy particularly. It doesn't come across as a spice bomb, as the name suggests. This is much more clean. It has an aromatic herbal quality to it. You have rosemary, you have sage, you have this kind of bright and energetic mint note, so it comes across as really fresh. So it's more in line with like the more generic designer fragrances that you might be used to. It's similar to a blue fragrance, but it has this sort of sweetness and this freshness, not many spices, but it is a really good blend. I can appreciate actually how nice this smells. It doesn't come across as a cheap smelling fragrance. The blend is really smooth and it is actually a really nice smelling fragrance. If you're not too keen on the spices and the tobacco note that we've been speaking about, and you want something much more generic, this one would be the one to go for. Decent performance as well for a fragrance in this category. It's a Spicebomb Night Vision EDP. Spicebomb Infrared Eau de Toilette. This one is a fruity version of the original Spicebomb EDT. It's actually much more in line with this fragrance than it is Night Vision. It's very similar to the original. It has this fruity opening, and I think the cinnamon is a bit more pronounced in this. I tested this with the original and I do get better performance with this. So basically it smells like the original Spicebomb with a fruity opening and slightly better performance. Now it's really between this new Infrared Eau de Parfum and Spicebomb Extreme as my favourite Spicebomb fragrance. When this was released a few months ago and I tried it, I was so pleased with how it smells. I knew immediately as soon as I tried this that I would love it because this is so warming. This smells like heat. There's a real fiery feel to this, and it really encapsulates that Spicebomb feeling, and I absolutely love this. You know those cinnamon candies you can get, the sweet cinnamon, which really taste of heat, of fire? That is how I would describe this. This has a sweet ambery quality, almost like a resinous amber, and it's sweet, but it's not sweet like the vanilla we get in Spicebomb Extreme. It's much more on the ambery side, and it smells really high quality and different. I'm really glad they went in this direction with Spicebomb Infrared and didn't go in the Night Vision direction, making things more generic. They've actually made things more interesting and given us a much more unique fragrance. There's really not much freshness in Infrared EDP. Its focus is much more on the resins, of the spices, and of that cinnamon. So this is a great fragrance to wear in the winter, very similar to Spicebomb Extreme. But if you want a fragrance to wear every day in the Spicebomb line, you're looking at either the original or you're looking at Night Vision EDP. If if you want something a bit more fruity with longer lasting performance, you want the Spicebomb Infrared EDT. I would typically look past these three because I think these two are the best in the line. We have Spicebomb Extreme with that beautiful vanilla sweetness, smells like winter, and then we have Spicebomb Infrared EDP, still a sweet fragrance, but goes in much more of a grown up with amber and resins.